Hello everyone, my name is Matt Ruhl, and today for my Ignite talk I am going to be discussing with you guys the 7 strategies of assessment for learning. The purpose of this talk and this presentation is to understand why the 7 strategies of assessment are important for student learning and how students can benefit from them. The first portion is where am I going? Strategy 1 is to provide students with a clear and understandable vision of the learning target that they are going to be working on. In order to do this, you obviously need to state the learning target. You also need to convert that learning target into student-friendly language that they can actually understand. And then you also want to use student-friendly rubrics so they can understand how they'll be graded. Strategy 2 uses examples and models of strong and weak work. This shows them a better understanding of what they can expect from you. So, you want to show examples that include common problems that you may see or things you'll be focusing on in their grading. You only want to use anonymous work when doing this, and you also want to have students determine the quality of the work themselves as well as justify their answers. The next section is where am I now? Strategy 3 is to offer regular descriptive feedback during the student's learning. The ways you're going to do this are through formative assessment to gather that data, and then you can identify the student's strengths as well as weaknesses in relation to the learning target, and you not only want to have you providing the feedback, but also start including some peer feedback as well. Strategy 4 is to teach students to self-assess and to set goals for themselves for the next steps in your class or within the unit that you're going through. To do this, this transfers the ownership of learning onto the students, and the students learn to provide their own feedback as well as setting goals for themselves that they can monitor their own progress, and the teacher becomes more of a facilitator rather than the one running the classroom. Next is how can I close the gap? Strategy 5 is to use evidence of student learning needs to determine next steps in teaching. In order to do this, you want to create a feedback loop, basically checking for student understanding and building instruction around what students have or haven't mastered. In this step, you also want to identify the reasons for any confusion, such as incomplete understanding, flawed reasoning, or any prior misconceptions that students may have. Moving on to strategy 6, you then want to design focused instruction followed by practice as well as feedback to the students. To do this, focusing teaching on specific problems or misconceptions you've already identified, then provide multiple short practice opportunities, and then provide feedback on those opportunities. And this gives students less feedback to focus on, which actually increases their likelihood for success. The 7th and last strategy is to provide students opportunities to track, reflect on, and share their learning progress. Students sharing what they have learned reinforces their learning, gives them insights to them as learners, as well as increases retention of the information itself, and sharing their progress allows them to also have a deeper commitment to actually making progress in your class. So these strategies are a progression that build on one another and are not necessarily a step-by-step process that needs to be followed in a specific order. In the next slide, I'm going to go into a little bit greater detail explaining how that actually works out. So here, strategies 4 and 7 are destinations where you want your students to arrive. Strategies 1 and 3 are enablers that help to actually guide the students to those destinations, and strategies 5 and 6 are floaters and can really be placed anywhere in that spectrum. Some takeaways are you want to provide a clear learning trajectory to your students. You want to utilize formative assessment to get that data. You want to provide effective feedback in student language, give students plenty of practice, and provide opportunities for them to share their work. Here is the references of where I got my information from, and I want to thank you for taking time to listen to my presentation.